Hello and welcome to the You Love to See It YouTube channel. My name is Jake and this is the next episode of my 2024 player projection series. But before we get into it, as always, subscribe to the channel. It's free. I appreciate it very much, and you can leave a like as well. And if you didn't already know, this series is going over the 2023 stats for all the players that are projected to be on the 26-man roster, and then looking at the 2024 projections via Zips. And if you don't know what Zips is, it's a software made by Dan Zimborski. You can follow him on Twitter, which looks at underlying stats and metrics to predict how a player's future successes will be. What those stats and metrics are, I don't know. I'm not that smart. So today's episode, we're going to go over our fifth man in the starting rotation. That's going to be Bryan Woo.
Here's Bryan Woo.
He got him. Struck him out. Big K there for Bryan Woo.
He got him. Blows it past him.
Swing and a miss.
He struck him out. Bryan Woo continues to rack up strikeouts.
So Bryan debuted with us on June 3rd in Texas. Didn't go very well for a debut. He did give up 6 earned runs and 2 innings pitched. But after that, he settled down fairly well. He had a good mix of good starts and bad starts, but most rookies do, so that's pretty much a given. We did have to limit his innings a lot. He does have an injury history with, I believe it's 2 Tommy Johns. If not just one, it's one of the 2. You can correct me in the comments. But Bryan Woo's 2023 shook down with a 4-5 record, 87.2 innings pitched, a 4.21 ERA, 1 F4, 1.21 whip, and 115 strikeouts. Which at the end of the day is a pretty decent stat line for a rookie coming in. I was ultimately pretty impressed with how varied his arsenal is, especially with his counterpart being Bryce Miller, who relies solely on the fastball for the most part. But Woo came in and he has a pretty decent varied arsenal. He has a good fastball and sinker. They were his best pitches. They both have a positive run value per baseball savant. And in September, when we were really vying for that playoff spot, he did show some flashes of just a total dog pitcher. He had some great starts, most specifically in game 160 against the Rangers at home. We were on the brink of potential elimination. He gave us 3.2 innings pitched for only 2 hits and 0 earned runs. And only the week prior, he faced Texas in Arlington again, and he gave up 6 earned runs. So he had a really good performance to end out his year, and so I'm hoping that there's that bit of a clutch gene that we kind of saw with him that we can harness in 2024. But with that, let's get into the Zips projections for Bryan Woo in 2024. They are projecting him to have a 6-7 record in 116 innings pitched, a 4.11 ERA, 1.6 FWAR, 1.18 whip, and 115 strikeouts. So the first thing I want to note in this is the 116 innings pitched. It has been noted with both Bryce Miller and Bryan Woo that they are not expected to have innings limits this year. So we are probably going to see more than that. Now, Bryan is the least potentially healthy out of the 2, so we're really going to have to keep a good eye on him this year. There could be that moment where we have to put him to the pen just to really save his arm, or he's going to eat some AAA innings here and there. And he's projected to be pretty much our clear number 5 starter, which makes sense. And he's the only one in her rotation that has a projected ERA over 4, and the only one with a losing record. So if that doesn't make you feel pretty good about this rotation, I don't know what will. He is projected to have the same whip as Logan Gilbert, which I do think is pretty interesting considering he is the rookie, and I do think Gilbert's going to have a pretty good year this year. So if that does happen, then I think that's going to be a good sign for the years to come that Bryan Woo is going to be a good starting pitcher for us. Now, where do I think Bryan Woo is going to be for 2024? I think he's going to have actually a bit of a better season than what he's projected to have here. I would not be surprised if he had a under 4 ERA. I do think he could have a winning record as well. Now, at the end of the day, as it's kind of the situation with most of this roster, health is going to be number 1 for Bryan Woo. So like I said, we could be moving him to the pen at some point. We could be moving him down to AAA to kind of lighten his workload a bit. I guess we'll see. But I also think it's pretty clear he is above Emerson Hancock. To me, it feels like he has a lock on that number 5 position. The only way I could see that changing is if either we somehow acquire a starting pitcher within the next week, since spring training is about to start, and when this video comes out, it's like going to be a couple days away. Or maybe a starting pitcher at the trade deadline that could maybe move him out as well. But I am excited for Bryan Woo to be on our rotation. I'm excited not only for this year, but for the years to come. But that's going to be it for this episode of the 2024 Projections series. Once again, it is free to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and you can like. And I do want you to comment down below, how do you think Bryan Woo is going to perform this year? But other than that, that's going to do it for me, and I will see you later.